Hey YouTube, what's happening? It's Richard, founder of Short-Term Rental University and professional real estate developer. I just want to underscore something that I've been teaching about time and time again, and we really learned a lot about it during COVID, right? So like we're coming out of COVID, thankfully. I hope you've got your vaccines and you're healthy and safe and sound and so on. But one of the things that we can do, one of the lessons that we have from COVID is taking a look backward and sort of understanding what worked, what didn't work. And again, we're doing this from like a financial perspective, a short-term rental investment perspective. And what I would say is this, it was really evident that one of the things that I've been teaching time and time again was critically important, which was the importance of diversification. What I learned personally in my own portfolio was that Palm Springs, California was open, then it closed, then it opened, then it closed, and so on and so forth. And if I had all of my eggs in that one basket, my entire business would be open and closed and open and closed. And that's a really hard thing. And I feel terrible for, say, like restaurateurs that have one location and, they were shut down. But if you were a restaurant company or a restaurant chain and you had locations all across America, or better yet, all across the globe, not to say that you had good experience during COVID, but you were able to like pay all the bills and keep your staff and so on and so forth, where if you had all of your eggs in any one geography, chances are you were hurt far more. So let's take a look at my other properties as well. Palm Beach, Florida, the governor of Florida had a decidedly different take on COVID, and he tended to keep it open far more than in, say, California. But travelers were weary, right? Like people weren't all about like travel and so on. So we were open, we were slower than we would have liked, but we were at least open. So we did better in Florida than we did in California. My place in Costa Rica, where I'm sitting right now, same sort of thing. The country actually shut down to foreign visitors, then it opened, then it put in some restrictions and so on. Now it's open, but we have to have COVID tests on the flight back to America, and you have to have travel insurance. And so there's these restrictions, which has actually decreased the number of travelers, but has actually increased the average stay. People are staying far longer. So the same sort of thing. If I were here in Costa Rica and only here in Costa Rica, I would have been subject to 100% of the whims and the laws. And granted, they're doing this for what they believe are the right reasons, but as a business owner, I had no control over when I was open or closed or what rules there were. And so it would have impacted my business largely. And the reason I share this all with you is these are some of the lessons that I've been teaching in the past that came to light during COVID. And so we can learn from that. And as we find new investment opportunities, I'm going to encourage you, as I have all along, to stop investing in the exact same place over and over again. It feels safe, right? Like, oh, well, I know sort of what the demand is in this town, and I know what the seasonality looks like, and I know I'm making money, and so like it feels good. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of risk. It's safe, it's conservative, it's easy for me to get there, and if there's a problem, I've got the plumbers, and it's just easier to scale because I know everything about it. And that's all true, but that's a false sense of security, and I want to really help you get past that. So the right way to do this is to build a portfolio, to do remote hosting, learn how to do that. If you haven't done that, get outside of your comfort zone. There's thousands, tens of thousands of viewers of this channel, and we have 20-something thousand people over at the Facebook group that have learned to do this, so you can too. And while it's a new experience and you have to get outside your comfort zone, once you start to remote host, now you can invest in different geographies, in different locations, you can expand more quickly, and you actually add overall health to your portfolio because you're not subject to one government, one governor, one wildfire, one earthquake, one hurricane that could like literally shut your entire business down, not for a day, not for a month, but maybe a year or longer. And so by creating diverse allocations to the same investment thesis that you know work, like that's the takeaway. You know you're a good short-term rental investor, a good short-term rental host, and you know that you can do this. Now you just have to learn how to do it further away, and that also opens up a whole universe of places where you can invest and find more attractive deals and so on and so forth. So the bottom line is diversification is critical to proper portfolio construction, and you can do it too. And if you haven't done it, you really should take a moment and ask yourself, like, why? What's the obstacle? What's the hurdle? And I know a lot of really smart people who've built a fortune in like one location, say New York City. There's really wealthy families that have been investing for decades, generations even. They own whole like big swaths of real estate, and they own like whole blocks and buildings and all of this stuff. And like that's great until it's not, right? Like New York City is not a great place to be investing in the COVID pandemic world, and even post-COVID. People are looking for a different lifestyle, a different way of living, different experiences, and the concept of being in a more congested urban area is sort of out of vogue now. Doesn't mean it doesn't return, but like right now I would much rather have investments in 20 different locations than 20 investments in Manhattan, if you follow what I'm saying. So, long story short, if you want to take your game to the next level, it's really important that you learn to invest and host remotely and create a diversified portfolio so that you can weather any natural disaster or any storm or any politician changing the laws and so on and so forth. So I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, please go ahead and like it. Leave your comments below. Actually, what I'd like to do is have you indicate where you have investments. So for those of you that are remote hosting, go ahead and list where your investments are so that the rest of the viewers can look in the comments and be like, oh wow, they have done it and they've done it and they've done it. And they've got one in Mexico and one in California and one in Georgia and like wherever. So go ahead and list where your properties are so that other people can benefit from this and start to remote host and create a diversified portfolio. Like the video, friends, and subscribe to the channel.